Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm your host, author DIANN BOEHM, and our show today is The Corner Bookstore. If you're joining us for the very first time somewhere in the world, we are thrilled to have you. And thank you to all our dedicated viewers. Dr. JACALYN, founder and CEO of the USA Global TV and Radio, is producing the show today. Our guest today is publisher, award-winning author, CJ Peterson. Let's welcome CJ. Hi, CJ. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be back. I missed you guys, and I love chatting with you.
Well, we love chatting with you as well. And you have something new and exciting to tell us in your author work.
Yeah, I do. I had a book launch on September 5th, Tested by Fire. I'm really excited about it. It's where a fire marshal falls in love with an arsonist before he realizes she is the arsonist. Like I said, I'm super excited about it. It's been a while in the making. It was actually inspired by a friend of mine, author Patty Wiseman. We were at a meeting and she mentioned that different writing prompts to the same group of authors can come up with a bazillion different storylines. And she said, like, for example, if a fire marshal falls in love with an arsonist. And I'm like, I can roll with that. So I went ahead and I wrote a book, and she actually has a little dedication to her in the dedication section, letting people know about her and her books as well, and the fact that she actually gave me the idea. So super excited about that one.
That is exciting. And you answered the question I was already thinking. How did you come up with that idea? So I happen to have a brother who's a retired fireman, and he has two sons that are firemen. So I'm curious, did you have to do a lot of studying about the fire world before you launched into this series?
No, not really. I have another series called Tested by Fire, which it's basically the firefighters, that is a female firefighter. And so I had already done a lot of the research. The part that I had to research was actually regarding the fire marshal side of things.
Well, that's a whole new world, I'm sure, because I think, if I understand correctly, the fire marshal, he's in charge of figuring out how the fires take place, or am I totally wrong?
No, you're 100% correct. They're the ones to determine the origin, how it started, where it started, and potentially figuring the whole thing out. It's kind of like the puzzle part of it.
Oh my goodness. So it's kind of exciting to think about. I'm going to picture that the fire marshal is sexy in my brain anyway. And now this girl has come after him, and they have a thing, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Too much.
Well, in this one, the fire marshal, it starts when she's 7 years old, and what originally started. So you can kind of see where her fascination of fire started and how it had evolved. And she knew him in high school, and it turns out that his dad was the actual fire marshal from when her family's home had burned down when she was younger. And just one thing led to another. And I'm not going to give away too much of it, but I'm very proud of it. I'm excited for it.
Well, I'm excited for you as well. For all the listeners, just a little background. CJ and I actually know each other, and her publishing company, Texas Sister Press, has published several of my books. Thank you, CJ, so much. But over time, CJ has become a personal friend. So I'm so blessed that I have this opportunity to just chat with you, because we're always going 100 miles an hour. So, you have a lot of books out here, but this particular book, you're about to do the book launch, correct?
The book launch for this one was on September 5th, so it's actually already launched. If you're interested in buying the book, it will be 99 cents on Kindle until the 1st of October. You can go to my website, which is cjpetersonwrites.com, click on the standalone books, and under books, then standalone, and then Tested by Fire is the top book that's up there, and it has all the current available links.
You're so good about that, making sure all the links for everybody, because we all have our favorite place to look. Oh, and here we go. Here's all the links. Is there anything you would like to point to us in this regard?
Yeah, if you click on books, which is at the very, very top, and then standalone, because you can see all the series have their own, but there are certain standalone books, and this is one of them. And if you scroll down, you're going to see, well, there's all my books. I have 19 novels. I'm in 4 anthologies, and I have 2 children's books. Go ahead and keep going, please. You can sign up for my newsletter. There's all my social medias. And then keep scrolling, please. My Square store. And those are the 4 standalone books that are actually listed on this page. And if you keep going a little bit further, latest release, Tested by Fire, is right there. Well, that's the book trailer. But if you keep going a little further, there you go. That's the summary, as well as the various links is down below. And you can order it for yourself.
That's awesome. And did you design the cover?
Actually, I did. And I've had this one. I'm very proud of that one. It took a while to kind of get the idea of what I wanted. Many times what I do is I'll go to Dreamstime, which is where I get a lot of my graphics. And I find the main character. So for example, the front, that's Robin Flynn. And on the back of the book is the hot firefighter you were just talking about. He is on the back, so you do know what he looks like. I like to, be able to let the reader know what the characters actually look like. So for example, in the Sands of Time trilogy, in the very front, it has actual pictures of the characters. So you get to get an idea of what they look like while you're reading the book.
I do love that. I love being able to at least get a feel of the characters' looks, in case I'm totally off track and what they look like. But congratulations to you on doing the cover. That is something I wouldn't even attempt to do. Maybe you could share with the audience how important a cover is to a book.
The cover, people say they don't judge a book by the cover, but they do. So that's the first one. You want a cover that's going to stand out. You want one that's going to pop. I've been doing my own covers for quite a while now. The other thing you need to consider when looking at the book is, what is it going to look like as a thumbnail size? So it needs to be able to pop when it's a smaller thumbnail thing, so it will stand out amongst other books. It is very important, because that is, again, the very first thing that people see.
Well, I never even considered the importance of a thumbnail. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you just made people go, "What? What did she say?" Are there any other tips that people should know about that you make sure in your own work that you do?
Well, when I go to do my books, I make sure that all questions are answered as much as possible within a series. If it's a standalone book, it's a full-fledged story, so you're going to make sure everything is answered. I tend to take people on journeys. People, if I can get them to laugh and cry in the same book, to me, it's a successful book. So it's my hope with this one as well that you definitely get a good journey on it. And it creates a moral dilemma in there when he figures out that she is the arsonist. What are you going to do? It's the woman that you love.
Yeah, what do you do? Go have a stiff drink? I don't know. I Guess we're going to find out when you read the book. So are there any other highlights or snippets without giving too much away? Is this a book that's really good for young adults as well as adults?
It actually is. I was a youth leader for 18 years. So I make sure that with my books, any one of the youth kids at the time that they were in youth group could be able to pick it up and be fine to read it. I've had a lot of homeschool moms read them. I've had a lot of homeschool moms be very happy that they were on break because they were reading books until 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. I've had teens. I love evoking enough of an emotion that one teen told me she chucked the book across the room because she didn't have the second one or the third one in the series. You know, when you can take the reader on a strong enough journey that it evokes that. Or I've had, you know, an older lady message me. She goes, I'm an 80-year-old senior citizen. I need to know what's in the box, which is referring to Holy Family Trilogy and Grace Restored series. She goes, I need to know before I die. And I'm like, trust me, it's in the first chapter of the next book. She goes, no, you need to tell me now. And I'm like, no, you need to wait. So when you can evoke that much emotion, that's, to me, is the goal. So my tagline is, why the stories are fiction, the journey is real. And I do that because I like to take my readers on the journey.
And you do, I must say you do. It must be so thrilling to get messages like that. I mean, I can't even imagine someone saying, I mean, was the person really that old, or were they pretending to be that old because they really wanted to know now? I mean, I'm just curious about that person by myself. But you must feel so good about it.
I love it, actually. I like getting the messages. I had one that says, you did not just do X. And I'm like, oh, yes, I did, in a messenger. And I've had them where my sister-in-law actually messaged me one time. She was reading the Call to Duty. And she said, here I am sitting on a beach in Waikiki, bawling my eyes out on the beach without a tissue in sight. And I said, I had compassion on your sister before you mentioned Waikiki. You're on your own. I just enjoy getting the messages from people. And that's the reason that we actually published the book. My husband and I made a decision before we started publishing as an indie author prior to Texas Sisters Press being founded. I was an indie author, and we said, as long as the messages within the pages of the book touched at least one heart, then it's worth publishing every single one of them.
I love that. It touches at least one heart. And I think that's where you and I are very similar. I mean, it would be great, to be able to say, I'm a multimillionaire. Everybody in the world's reading my books, but you and I know it doesn't work like that. And so we live for these messages from others because that helps give us the energy and know we're on the right path. Do you agree or disagree?
Totally agree. When you're writing books, and each person has a different measure of success. What is successful for one is not successful for another. That's number one. Number two, you don't write books to get rich. It's not going to happen, flat out. So what is your motivation for putting it out there? I put mine out there because I want the words to help people. I've had people say, the Holy Family Trilogy is a reality spiritual reality check. That's how she worded it. It's a spiritual reality check. When you can get somebody that interested in the story, especially regarding the Team Angel series books, which is the Grace Restored series, the Holy Family Trilogy, the Divine Legacy series, the standalone of Strength from Within, and then Christmas Angels, those characters all cross over storylines. So for like 10 years, people were following these particular sets of characters. And by that point, they are very well invested in these because it's like 13, 14 books. And being able to bring that world almost to life for somebody, to me, is a success. When I had one teen come up to me for Grace Restored series, the main character is Katie McKenna. She said, I am absolutely in love with Katie McKenna. And I'm like, oh, you're so-and-so, because I was told that she was going to find me later. But being able to evoke that enough, the fact that they actually remember that. I've had people say that they read the books over and over again. My daughter was on a college campus one time, and she walked up to this girl who was just crying her eyes out. And she goes, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm just reading this book. And she showed the book, and my daughter started cracking up because it was one of mine. And so she's like, let me tell you about this author and let me tell you about her books. Diane, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I got so excited that I pushed the button twice. But I was just imagining that happening, and that she must have got a giggle out of it, at the same time so proud. And then at the same time, when you stop and you think about how many people are on a college campus, and she happened to run into that young lady, that's, that's mind blowing. That's the angels at work, actually. So a question for you to again share with our listeners how many books you have written, and when do you have time to do that?
I actually have, this is my 19th novel. So I have 19 novels. I have 2 children's books, and I am in 4 anthologies. That is my first and foremost. That's my biggest passion. But I'm also, besides an author, I'm a blogger. I'm part of the Lone Star Literary Life crew, and we do blog posts regarding other people's books, which is nice because you know me, I love sharing other people's work. I'm a podcaster of 2 podcasts. So I have Book World: The Great Escape, which author Michael Scott Clifton is my co-host, and we talk about pretty much everything in the author and book world. And we also have Magic Making Mischief, which is kind of my second passion, which has to do with Comic-Cons. And I love working, I actually work the Comic-Cons. We're on our way out here after this to go work one in Lake Jackson this weekend. And I thoroughly enjoy that as well. I'm a speaker. I did a week-long conference in Pennsylvania this year, which was super fun for me. I was able to teach 3 classes, and then there was a 4th class that was the entire week, where I taught teens how to write sci-fi and fantasy books, the difference between them. And just being able to feed into them just brings joy to my heart. And then, of course, I'm a publisher. I own Texas Sisters Press. My husband and I own it, Texas Sisters Press, and we'll be able to help other authors. I just like helping people. I like helping people get their stories out. I like helping people figure out, when they get stuck, hey, try this or try that. I like helping them with the marketing. I just like helping people. And to me, that feeds my heart and my soul. But writing is first and foremost. I actually got an idea for writing a book at that conference, and I started another trilogy that should be out next year. Being a multi-genre author, I like to challenge myself and go outside of the normal of what I write. So this one is going to be a Renaissance phase book. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. So, wow, I'm sure everyone listening is just going, wow. So I guess you're just drinking hot chocolate all the time to keep your energy.
Oh, I enjoy bean-free caffeine. Dr. Pepper's my go-to.
I'm a Dr. Pepper girl too. How about that? Um, okay, so let's backtrack a tiny bit. And that's right, you were in Pennsylvania. So what was it like teaching sci-fi to the young kiddos? I bet they just loved you.
They did. I enjoyed it. And it was like start to finish. Basically, what I did was I first explained the difference between sci-fi and fantasy. And then I broke those down into individual subcategories. I also each day gave them a little gold nugget, is what I call them. Whenever I teach a class, I give something a little bit extra at the end, as kind of like a little hint. Hey, you can try this or you can try that. Check out this tool, check out that tool. But it was more than that, because we were all staying in the same area. We were able to play games. We were able to come up with ideas. One of the things I did was I started a story. It's about a page and a half. And each one of the teens had to add to it and get it all to me by Wednesday. So some added a little bit more than others, but they made a full story out of it. So what I decided to do at the end of the week, and this is another project that I'm working on, is we're doing an anthology trilogy. Basically, each one of the authors is going to be writing a chapter in the book, and it's in a trilogy. And so we've had to kind of plan out all 3 books and kind of get a basic idea of what we're doing, which is new for me because I'm a pantser and I'm just used to writing and going. But trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page is fun and it's exciting. And this group of teens is an amazing group, and I'm super, super excited about that one as well.
Wow. I'm excited for you, but what's really is amazing to me as a former educator is how you are empowering and you're empowering these kiddos to know, because you didn't say, oh, these students, you stated, oh, these authors. And if they go back and listen to this and they hear their teacher, instructor say author, they're going to go, oh my gosh, I really am an author. And that means everything, because if someone would have told me, as a teenager, many of my teachers say to me, "Oh, Diane, you're going to be an author, and you're going to start writing right now." I think that's what would happen, especially because I got all red marks so on everything. But do you feel like you've really empowered these kiddos?
Oh, I'm sure I did. And it's super fun. When I told them, because I did not initially come in with this idea. It just slowly evolved over the course of the week of different things that I set before them and different challenges. They not only took them and did them, but they excelled at them. And because they put that extra in, I know that they're going to be able to do that for this particular trilogy. And so again, I'm super thrilled and excited to find out, what comes of it in the end. But you've got a mix of I think 13, 14 different authors that are doing this. So you're going to get an eclectic mix of various voices that are going to be similar, but different things are going to pop with each different author regarding the storyline. And to me, it's just the excitement of, again, being a pantser, not knowing how it's going to end. I have a general idea, but I'm kind of curious to see which direction they take these in. And these teens are and there's a few adults mixed into it as well. And their ideas, they just took off with it. And I'm, again, super excited to see where it goes.
You'll have to be sure to come back and just talk about that and maybe have a teen with you. But getting back to you, because this is all about you, is there any character that we should be aware of, or in this particular book that you just launched? And then I have another question after that.
In this particular book, every character has a purpose. You're not going to run into somebody that's just there as a name, except for maybe some of the servers in the restaurant. Each character has a purpose, and each one may come back around later. So you need to pay attention to everybody and every character that's in there. That's for sure.
Ooh, that's like being at that mystery dinner, who killed so-and-so, and so don't write the butler off, right? Or the quiet grandma. So my other question for you is, because you've written so many books and in their series, so has there been a character that you was kind of in the back, let's say, and then all of a sudden that character's like, it's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn?
That happens more than I care to admit. There are certain characters. One in particular that I'm thinking of is Jacob from the Team Angel series. He comes into play in the Divine Legacy series. He's actually based off of one of the youth group kids. And this kid's brain just fascinated me to no end. And I said, I want to make you a character. He goes, great, are you going to kill me? I said, actually, no, but I will put you in this first book. And his character was one of those characters that was just so unique that he's just like, the character alone said, no, I'm staying. And I'm going to finish off this series, and we're going to keep going because I'm going to stay here and I'm going to stay alive. And that's that. So a lot of times certain characters I might just put in there, and some stay, some go, but certain ones all the characters take over and take over their own thing. People kind of blame me a little bit for what goes on in some of these stories. But honestly, it's not me. The characters just take off with it. I have a rule, never go against the character of a character. And so when the characters' storylines are flowing, I can't help, what direction it goes into. It's just the character of the character takes that direction.
I agree with you. No, don't go against the character because it could actually hurt the flow of the whole story, correct? But for our audience to understand really what we're talking about, in case some of them are not writers, is how the characters actually do talk to us. I mean, I'm a pantser like you. I just write, and let it go, and then go back and look at everything, and maybe have to move some things around, or have someone like you read it and go, "Excuse me, but editors are good." Anyway, so share with the to the audience how you let those characters speak to you. You don't let them go away. I'm going to do it this way.
Well, again, it has to do with the flow, and it has to do with the character of the character. I have a general idea of where I want the story to go. A lot of times a certain song will generate a scene in my head. And I keep all of those different songs on a playlist. But when I'm specifically working on whatever that scene is that was initially triggered by the song, I will play it over and over and over again in my head. So it's like I have a general idea of where I want it to go. But the characters themselves take the ups and the downs of how things go. So, for example, we'll use Raphael. He's one of the archangels that's in the Team Angel Divine Legacy series. I could have made him kind of stodgy. I could have made Michael the Archangel kind of stodgy, but I didn't. They have a sense of humor. And I made sure that, that they got to enjoy, people got to enjoy, and those characters got to enjoy the story as well. When the story is flowing, you let it flow. And you let the characters' different personalities take over. And it's just like life. You can't really control how somebody's going to act, but generally speaking, their character is this. So, for example, if you were watching a TV show and you're like, why did they do that? Or why did that character do that? They probably went against the character of the character. So when you're writing a story, you just don't do that. You let the character run the course, and things may surprise you. I know they have me even in writing the books. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a cool idea. The character actually did that. That's awesome. And it's just because it flowed out. And to me, that helps add a genuineness to each one and each individual character, because each individual character is a quote unquote person. And no person is just like somebody else.
This is true. Not even twins are like the same. But you made a very valid point, or I don't know if I call it a point, but something that stimulates your writing, and that is music. And the same for me, and I think probably for a lot of authors. They listen or bring around clothes, or maybe they need a certain perfume that fit with that day, etc. Is there a special time or a place that you find that your creativity flows the best?
Honestly, no. It's whenever it strikes. That's part of being a pantser. So I'll give you an example. There's another series that's kind of still down the pipeline that was inspired. My husband's from South Africa, and we were on a trip in South Africa, and I got an idea. So I started writing on a napkin, and then I used his napkin. I was writing the napkin. The server realized what I was doing, and he went and got me some paper. So hubby and I sat there, and we just kept writing out notes and notes and notes and notes to go with this particular series. And it's like, where it strikes, you don't know. So I also have, a Post-it note app on my phone, or I'll text my husband, hey, note, and I'll put whatever the note is. So wherever it strikes you is where you need to sit down and write it. Otherwise, you may lose it. And that's something you do not want to do.
I agree completely. I have found that I will actually pull the car over, find a safe place to park. I mean, it's terrible. I've even done it on the freeway. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get off the freeway, and I'm going to find a place to park. Keep that thought, and write it down real quickly. Because you're right. It's a fleeting moment, and it will be given to someone else if you don't do that. But South Africa, now I've been to different places in Africa, always wanted to go to South Africa. So if we could digress for a moment and just share what it was like to be in South Africa.
Oh, it was really super cool. The people there are awesome, at least the ones that we ran across. Very creative. The stuff that we found, just people trying to sell on the side of the road or down in some sort of flea market type thing, was very creative. We have one picture with 5 different types of wood from South Africa where the person in front of us burned the pictures of, they call them the Big 5 in Kruger Park, which is the lion, the leopard, the elephant, the wildebeest, and I can't remember what the 5th one is. But there's like the Big 5 that everybody looks for when they go to Kruger Park. Kruger Park is this massive natural park where you're the visitors. You're not allowed to get out of your vehicle. There are a few places where you are, but you basically drive from camp to camp and you stay in your vehicle because nature is out there on its own. And it is how it's supposed to be intended. So you can see a lion eating a hyena, or you can see an elephant having a baby. You can see a huge congress of baboons. You can see everything just going on as nature intended it, and you're the visitor. So that was really cool as well. We went to, we rode the Premier train. We went to Kruger Park. We went to Tsitsikamma, which is this really pretty nature park. We went to Monkeyland, which is one of my favorites. I collect monkeys. And we visited some of his family down there, and it was really nice and really cool. It is slightly dangerous now, so we would limit probably flying into Kruger Park and flying right back out to get out.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because not many people really get to hear what it's like to experience nature as nature is meant to be. I think I stated that the way you did. You stated it so well. There's something about actually seeing the animals running after the other and catching their game, and then you just have to be very quiet up there. You can't move because you don't want them coming after you. But I'm so glad you shared that with us. So there'll be a book that's been inspired now by this trip, correct?
There's going to be a series inspired by it called Meet Me in South Africa. So it's a series of 4 or 5 books. I can't remember, but I have all the notes for it. One story that did stick in my head, we were in Kruger Park, and it's at nighttime. You have to put stuff in your ears to make sure nothing crawls in there, because like I said, you're in the middle of nature. So it's all there. And we were in one of the camps in Kruger Park, like Tent City, I think is what they call it. And it was almost like this Harry Potter tent that just kept going and going and going. Well, this tent was about 10 to 20 feet from this electrified fence. And beyond the electrified fence is this dry riverbed. And we were laying there, and I was asleep, and my husband woke me up. He said, listen, take your things out and listen. So I took my earplugs out, and all of a sudden there was this loud roar of a lion, and everything went dead silent for like 30 seconds to a minute. I mean, it was like that roar. When they say King of Beasts, he shut them all down. And then all of a sudden you heard one of the baboons, and then a couple of the hyenas, and then a couple other ones. And then the chorus started all over again with all the different animals. But that is a sound I will never, ever forget.
Wow, that's incredible. So he really is the king of the jungle. I can't wait till that series comes out. And that's what amazes me about incredible authors like you. And I just want to remind the audience, you are an award-winning author. And I can't wait till Netflix picks up all your series. So come on, Netflix. I want to see them. And but you don't think like one book, you just automatically think in series. How does that happen?
Sometimes I think in series, sometimes I think in books. So for example, Tested by Fire, that one is a standalone. Chain Reaction, which is regarding time travel, that one's a standalone. So I have a few standalones that are in there, but just sometimes, for example, this Castle Keep that I'm writing about the Renaissance phase, sometimes I just kind of know that there's more than just a storyline there, just one book. And I also like writing series because I like you to follow the entire journey of the character. So when I mentioned the Team Angel series, the characters actually cross over the different storylines. It gives you more of that character story in a different series. So I like being able to take the reader, again, on that journey. While the stories are fiction, the journey is real. It takes you on the journey, the entire journey. You don't just go on this little bitty segment of it. You take the whole thing.
I love that. Congratulations. And also congratulations for being an award-winning author. That is something we don't sit down and we go, okay, I'm going to write an award-winning book. But we are so happy when we're recognized. And you have been recognized on so many levels. Can you share with the audience some of the books that you've won awards with?
Yeah, I actually have 10 awards. One of them is for the entire Divine Legacy series for Best Christian Fiction series. The first book, Appointed Time and the Sands of Time trilogy, won for Best YA. My very first award was for Seasons of Change, and that one was for second place in the adult fiction category. So, I mean, just being able to recognize it all is very cool, but that adds just like a little bit of a nice boost. But to me, the bigger reward is hearing from the readers.
I agree with you. That is a huge reward when I hear a mom say, I had so much fun reading, listening to my child giggle at your books, right? So that's exciting. Can you believe it? It is almost time to go. So before we say goodbye, we need to talk offline. Please share with the audience once more how they can find you, get your books, take your newsletter. Everybody, you want to read everything that CJ has to say. Take it away, CJ.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Diane, and thank you, Dr. JACALYN, for having me on. I always enjoy coming on your show. But you can find everything that you need to know about me is on my website, cjpetersonwrites.com. That's cjpetersonwrites.com. And across the top, there's a section about me. There's a section for all the different book series. There's a section for the podcasts. There's a section for the blogs. It's all there. Feel free to reach out to me via email, cjpetersonwrites@yahoo.com. That's cjpetersonwrites@yahoo.com. And I would love to hear from you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, CJ. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. I hope you'll come back, and please come back another time, not just for your books, but with your new young authors. I would like to think USA Global TV can help empower them one step further in helping you as you launch that book launch. So for now, everybody listening, thank you so much for joining our show today. We just have so much fun here with all the different authors and publishers. CJ is incredible. Please make sure you check out our website, grab her new book. I have her entire Christian series, and you are so touched by the way she writes. So I'm very honored that I was able to speak with her today as professionals. So until next time, USA Global TV is signing off from the Corner Bookstore. Stay tuned for our next show. Why would you ever go anywhere else? USA Global TV always has something for everyone. Bye for now and have a blessed day. Hello, I'm children's author Diann Floyd BOEHM, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages. And who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diann Floyd BOEHM's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DiannFloydBOEHM.com.